Hi everyone, welcome to Würth Knowing. Today's topic is on the very interesting and new 3D printing. But today we're gonna talk about safety. And I have an expert here with us to talk about that. Ed, welcome, and take it away. What are we gonna talk about today?
Thank you. We're gonna talk today about safety in 3D printing as it relates to manufacturing. Okay, so now that we're moving 3D printing into the manufacturing realm as a frontline resource, we really need to look at a lot of the safety aspects that are gonna impact your manufacturing operation. We're gonna uncover some nuggets, we're gonna bypass the marketing hype that you're getting from companies, and we're gonna dive into some topics you really need to understand.
All right, this is great because I would not have thought 3D printing would have a lot of safety considerations. So what would be the first thing we need to consider around safety in 3D printing?
It all starts with the material.
Okay,
So there's three basic areas of 3D printing. We look at what's called filament 3D printing.
all right.
That's the kind that uses something that looks like a weed whacker wire. So one of the challenges with that is as that material heats up, it gives off ultrafine particles. So it's important to have safety policies in place and safety controls in place to make sure that we don't have an exposure risk.
Okay, because you can inhale
Yeah,
that.
you can inhale because you can smell it, right?
Right.
Everybody knows what burning plastic smells like. It's
Sure.
not good for you.
No.
So that we need to be careful of that.
Fair.
And then we have resin printing, which is a liquid photopolymer, and when it's energized by light, it turns to hard plastic.
Yeah,
Well,
okay, this is the 3D printing I'm most familiar with, yeah.
Okay, and so one of the problems you have with that is as that catalytic reaction happens, the resin actually gives off volatile organic compounds.
Ooh, I don't even like how that sounds.
I know, and some of them are, they're chemicals.
Yeah.
And it gives off those chemicals, and those fumes get in the air, and then people have bad reactions, right? And one of the newest emerging areas is metal printing,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, metal printing carries inhalation hazards because it's very fine powdered metal,
Yeah.
but it also carries fire and explosion hazards.
Whoa, okay, I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
Well, and everybody's been to the 4th of July picnics, you watch the fireworks afterwards. So the powders that we use in metal printing are the same powders that cause the colors in the fireworks.
In a process of 3D printing, we could actually make our own fireworks show.
We could.
We don't want that.
We don't want that. And actually, it's pretty funny because I got a little side note. At one of the facilities I worked at, they never called it a fire, they called it a thermal event.
So Ed, it sounds like with these hazardous materials and the safety precautions we need to take, that it'd be really important to, use personal protective equipment, put a mask on, wear gloves, hoods, things of that nature.
You're absolutely right, you do need to do that, but that's not your first line of defense. Your first line of defense is always going to be your engineering controls. Now, most companies will think that, if I wear a mask, I wear gloves, we're golden. But you still need the engineering controls. If you have a machine that has dust, you have to do dust mitigation techniques.
Right.
If you have a resin printer that has volatile organic compounds, you need to properly vent and filter that material coming out. And with the filament printing, we really want to control those ultrafine particles.
Sure.
And you figure out what that risk matrix by going back to the actual material you're working with.
Okay.
And then you build your engineering controls around the types of material you're going to be using.
Okay, Ed, I think we grasp and understand the importance of having these safety protocols and procedures in place. How do we implement it all?
So we always start at the SOP, which is a standard operating procedure.
Okay.
So that makes sure that the workers on shift A and the workers on shift B are following the exact same safety procedures as dictated by your risk analysis done on your material and utilizing your engineering controls that are in place.
It's consistent from person to person, minute to minute.
Exactly. And that keeps your incidents down.
Yeah.
Right? Which is very important. We don't want people to get hurt. We don't want equipment to get destroyed. We want everybody to be as safe as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
So now that you have your standard operating procedures in place, you have to train everybody.
Makes sense.
If only I knew somebody that was a world-class trainer who could be sitting next to me to talk about SOPs and training.
Yeah, well, I would imagine, Ed, that ensuring people have, first of all, the information, the knowledge, communicating these processes and procedures, showing them what it entails, and then guiding them through the process, not leaving them alone. And as they're practicing, offer guidance and coaching through them practicing it. And then from there, don't abandon them, giving them the coaching and continuing to support them as they're through this learning process. Those would be key elements. And I would also say it's key that development is continuous, right? That it's not a one and done. You give them one training and you expect it to be the end all be all to their development. That would be my approach. Am I on it?
You're absolutely right. And ultimately you need to reevaluate your SOPs and your training program, I would say at least annually.
100%.
Because in the 3D printing technology, the technology moves so fast. There's new chemicals coming out. There's new hazards coming out. And we need to communicate those. Your SOP, while it sounds like a daunting document, is actually a communication tool.
Sure, yeah.
And we need to train people on how to interpret that. Training is not a nice to have, it's actually federally mandated.
Yes, yeah. Well, and I would say training is a necessity always.
Either way, but your training needs to you have to be able to audit it. Mm-hmm. It has to be audit proof.
Sure.
So that means you have to document it.
Yep.
Right, your SOPs are part of your documentation stream that you then can be audited on.
Yep.
So just understanding that there is a bigger picture here.
Yeah. Well, Ed, I think this makes sense to all of us, and I, as a training professional, I just love the focus on making sure people are really developed to understand these safety protocols, and the fact that the training and development piece is not a nice to have, it's a must have, and we really need to provide that to anyone that's going to be using this method of production.
Absolutely, and you look at what we've covered today, we've covered the materials, the engineering controls, the SOPs, the training, and the documentation. That goes together as a single comprehensive safety program.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing this with us. Not only did I find it entertaining and enlightening, but also really, really important. I think everybody would agree that keeping people safe is the top priority in any means of production. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.